This is Real Oregon Lifestyle with Andrea Fay and Jenn Fiddler, two licensed real estate brokers who share their love of all things Oregon.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Real Oregon Lifestyle. I'm Andrea Fay.
I'm Jenn Fiddler.
And today we've got a great episode for you. With all the stuff that we've had going on this year with 2020, there's been a lot. There's been not only a pandemic, but we've had fires in our area. We've also had, well, I guess in the Seattle area, they had murder hornets. But there's other stuff that could happen. Anything could happen. But Jenn and I have also had mutual clients that have lived through the Paradise fires and other fires. And it kind of spurred on for me a want to create a go bag. And a go bag is basically everything that you need to survive in 3 days for your family. So I went ahead and started doing one, and I discovered that it actually does take some time to put it together and be thoughtful about it. I'm still not technically done, but we're going to go through that and kind of some disaster preparedness, because really anything can happen and we all should be prepared. No one could ever be too prepared, right?
I 100% agree. We've had a lot of conversations just between the two of us lately of, I don't want to be very doomsday or anything, but what does the world look like and what is it going to look like in the future? And I think that we're in for more of these types of pandemics, and we've seen more natural disasters and wildfires and things than we ever have. So it's not a bad idea to be prepared. And Andrea has been talking to me about her go bag, so I'm really excited to see this. But back to kind of talking about people who have lived through really bad wildfires. The client that I had in the Paradise fires, which were in California, when they lost their house, I talked to them probably about 2 weeks later, and they were working with their insurance agent to recreate everything that they had in their home and make a list of all of the items that they had. And they said it was really, really hard. They had lived there for a long time. They were older people. So just by nature of living a long life, they had a lot of stuff. And it took them a long time to recreate the list of items that they have in their house. And they had to do a lot of it from memory. And that got me thinking about what I would do in that situation if my house was in danger of being burned down. And I am not anywhere near as prepared as I thought I was. I didn't have any kind of supplies. I didn't have a list of stuff in my house. I don't have an inventory of jewelry, furniture, all of those kind of things that are important. And so I reached out to my insurance agent and I did some Googling, and we came up with a pretty good checklist. Andy, will you pull that up for us? It's a little hard to see on the screen, but we're going to have this on our website. But this is just a room-by-room household inventory of everything that you have in your house and sort of an associated cost with that item. So it's a good idea to probably look at this once a year. And one insurance tip that my lady gave me was to go through and with your cell phone, just video each room and take a video probably, every couple of years, just to make sure that you have everything that you've acquired. If you've changed furniture, if you've added jewelry, things like that, those all need to be documented.
Yeah, Jenn, it's awesome that you bring this up, because it's another item that's on my list too. And we actually live in a very slight flood zone. We pay a very small amount of flood insurance. The likelihood that it's going to flood is pretty slim, but still, on the off chance that something did happen, we need to be able to prove what we had. And I think that's the hard part is, in the middle of it, after disaster happens, can you really remember everything that was in that kitchen drawer? I can guarantee you right now, I can't remember everything in the kitchen drawer, and I probably just looked at it a few minutes ago. So super, super important. But yeah, that's kind of really for us, because we had so many fires in the area. That's really what spurred it on for me to go ahead and get started. And then Andy, there is a checklist from FEMA that I went ahead and looked up to see what FEMA says that we should do to be prepared, if you could pull that up. This one's awesome because it gives you at least some guidelines, and this is going to be tailored to you and your family, of course. So, you know, they say make sure you've got prescriptions if you can, glasses. That's one thing I need to make sure I have because I do wear glasses and contacts. And then, you know, like warm blankets. And if you scroll down to the next page, there's some interesting ones in there too. Yeah, so they recommend a gallon of water per person per day for at least 3 days. Well, if we have my stepdaughters with us, that makes 4 people in our household. That's 12 gallons of water that we need to be prepared to cart around. And I kind of thought, you know, that could be a little bit unrealistic for us to have 12 gallons of water that we need to cart around. And so we went ahead and we're going to have both. We're going to have both options. I'm going to go ahead and start going through some of the stuff. But some of it's just like emergency related stuff, like make sure you've got a whistle so you can whistle for help and things like that. But we did get a water container. This is a really big one. This one holds 7 gallons of water. I got 2 of these. So we'll have some emergency water in the house. During emergencies, there's the possibility that you could be stranded in your house and maybe there's no source of clean water. It's good to have some extra water on hand that is clean and ready to go. Or you could be in a position where you're away from your house, away from clean drinking water. One of the items that we ended up getting was one of these mini straws. And what this has in here is a pouch that you can fill with water, and then there's a filter through the straw, and it just filters all the bacteria and nasty stuff out. So it cleans the drinking water and it makes it actually drinkable. These actually do a lot of filtration, so it'll last a long time. This is for 100,000 gallons of water. So you'd have to be really thirsty to get through this whole thing.
How much was that?
I think it was $19.99, but don't quote me on that.
That's a good value for $19.99.
I thought so. And we actually have a couple extra ones too, just because I bought some for my parents too, because they're also working on their go bag. And then they ended up buying their own. And so now I have some extras. But, well, we're always going to have clean drinking water here. Another thing that I found, this was a really good one, is a emergency crank radio. Because you may be in a position where there's no power. And you might need to charge a cell phone. You might need to actually use the radio. But this is what it looks like. It's kind of cool. It has the ability to plug in a USB. So you could charge a cell phone with this. It's got a flashlight on it as well, and it's solar. So it's kind of cool. You just like take this thing out and then you crank it. And then you can see that it's lighting up when I'm using it. But you can use the flashlight if you want to. It's pretty handy, and it's amazing how it works. So this is I think a really handy one, a good one to have for emergencies. Also to pack enough food for you and your family for 3 days. That's been a challenging one for us because food takes up a lot of space. We ended up getting the Mountain House. I also try to be gluten-free and dairy-free if possible. But this is freeze-dried food. And we actually have 9 servings out of this one. And so we could actually feed the kids. This actually could be a really good one. Just add boiling water.
Oh, I was wondering about that. Where'd you get that?
That one we found at Bi-Mart.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember how much it was, but Bi-Mart had several different options for emergency type meals that you add boiling water. We also, because you're not sure how you're going to be boiling water, we ended up getting a backpack stove. So you just hook this up to a little fuel source, and then we have a whole little mess kit that you can, it's foldable, and then you can literally boil your water with this. So everyone really needs a way to be able to boil water if you're in an emergency situation, because you just don't know what that water is going to contain.
I love that you're gluten and dairy free, even in a disaster.
Well, I don't really want to feel uncomfortable. I think if you already have sensitivity to that stuff, it's not going to make your life easier if you don't feel good.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm. Emergency blankets. These are awesome. I have 4 of these. So they're just little fold up things. But they're weather resistant. Actually, they're probably waterproof. But they hold in 90% of body heat. So handy. Ooh. And they're tiny. Got started well before the fires, but mostly because I had a friend who gave me the start of a go bag. And I was like, what's this for? And because at the time she gave it to me in January, and I was like, I didn't really see the need for it. But then after the disasters, all the fires, I was like, oh, maybe that is a good idea. But in this bag, she gave me all kinds of stuff. There's like a trash bag, a couple trash bags in there. There's foot powder. I put 4 toothbrushes in there so we can all brush our teeth, because I personally think that's really important. Nobody should have bad breath. Another flashlight. There's twine. There's masks in here. We probably need those too. Batteries. A mirror. So if we need to alert somebody with the reflection for help, that's in there as well. Waterproof matches. So again, if the fire's starting, we're going to be able to start lots of fires. A thermometer. There's also a compass and our little whistle, a pen, all kinds of fun stuff. All the little stuff is in this pouch.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. So if I actually showed you this bag, it's a really big bag full of stuff, and I'm still not done with it. There's just a ton of stuff that goes into it. We also have wipes. You never know when you're going to need those to clean yourself or clean other things. We also have sanitizing wipes, also important. And this is a really important one. It's a really tiny first aid kit. I think it's mostly for cuts and scrapes and stuff like that. But it's mostly bandages and adhesive tape and that kind of stuff. But it's, I think, super important. And this one floats, and I think it glows in the dark as well.
Yeah, that's a huge one. That's very important.
Yeah. The other thing that you're supposed to pack is clothes for 3 days. That one's been a really hard one for me because I've wanted to just put in some old clothes. I'm like, well, if I like the clothes right now, I don't really want to donate them to this bag. So I did find some old jeans to throw in there. They say that you should have sturdy shoes because you just don't know what could happen. But I think it's super important to have at least another pair of clothes in there. And then I also have a towel. What else do I have? Toilet tissue. This is the camping version. Also important if you really, really do want to be clean down there.
I love it. By the way, I'm going to wear a full sweatsuit. If we're in a disaster situation, I'm letting it all go.
Yeah, why not? I mean, if it's a disaster situation, who cares what you look like? I mean, really. I mean, I don't even think I packed a brush. Oh, yeah. Fruit. It's really hard to pack fruit. You're not going to pack fresh stuff. You're going to pack the best that you can. And I thought at least the girls would probably eat this. They're teenagers. You would think that their horizons would expand beyond this, but it doesn't yet.
Hey, I like those. Grayson would be very excited if that was in his go bag.
Oh, they're delicious. Yeah. Protein breakfast bars. we're trying to find stuff that has a little bit higher protein to get us through and not so much like sugar. Like granola bars are good because they last a long time. But if you can, try and find something that has a little bit more protein, because otherwise you're just going to burn through that in a disaster situation. You're just going to do nothing but sit there and eat granola bars, and it's not going to help you.
Curious as to, are there any guidelines for that you found, like how much fat per meal? Like those MREs are really calorie dense, right? So
they are. We actually have some that came. My parents started off with a go bag that had just like MRE type stuff in it. I don't think they make these very. This is what it looks like. It's, let's see, 6 servings, and it's really dense. Like it doesn't flex. But there's bars in here, and I think you would probably just gnaw the crap out of them. But this one's not gluten-free, but I was like, we could stand to at least eat it. My parents can't eat it because they are gluten-free. And, but it's like 400 calories per serving, which is pretty high for like a bar.
Yeah.
If you compare that to the protein bars, these are 220. So, a lot of calories in them, which is good because, you know, in that situation, you do want to be able to last a while. But again, if you're gluten-free and those are not, probably not a good mix for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all in all, I could probably go through this bag even more. There's just all kinds of stuff in here that would be super helpful. Tarps, I put like some 5x7 tarps in there too. So if for some reason we had to make like a quick lean-to, then we could do it, and have a little shelter from wind. You know, it was really tough because I was making this. I was like, there's like a borderline between making an emergency bag and then also getting ready to go camping. So you kind of have to find that fine line, because if you have enough time and you can, I would say, yeah, go ahead and, you know, pack your camping stuff. But if you're in a pinch and you only have time to grab one bag and that's going to get you through 3 days, then I would say, you know, just stick with the immediate emergency supplies.
Yeah.
But one thing that was great about it is I've talked to other people about this too, and they have said that because in a situation during recent fires, one person they were on the list to have to evacuate. I don't think they ever were. But the fact that they already had their go bag ready because they had come from California from the Paradise fires, they had already learned their lesson on that and had it ready to go. They had extra time to go ahead and start packing like pictures and sentimental items that they would have wanted to take with them too. So the go bag, I think, is a really good thing. It affords you time, and time is really the most precious thing that you have in an emergency situation.
Yeah, that's a really smart idea. Have your go bag ready and then kind of build from there. You know, I live in Beaverton, so we were pretty far away from evacuation zones, but, you know, just down the road in Canby and Wilsonville, they were on the verge of having to evacuate. And, you know, it was scary down there. To even have it be that close really made me just start to think about what would I do in that situation. And I think all the things, if you don't have every single thing that Andrea has in her go bag, at least have this as a starting point of starting to think about it. What would you need in this situation, and customize your own bag. I'm going to start looking at it. I mean, I've got camping stuff, but I probably don't have enough food for 3 days. I don't have enough water for sure, but I've got my camping stuff more organized now just based on this, and I have it in bins. So it would be really easy to pack up and be ready to go.
Yeah, ours actually because of this also, our camping stuff is really organized too. And so we could potentially pack our camping stuff as well. So we'd have more access to things that we need. But again, it's that, you know, on the off chance that you can't pack all that stuff and you don't have that much time, then as long as you have a lot of it, it does take a while to make this stuff. Because if you can order emergency bags like on Amazon, in various places. They're kind of expensive. But honestly, I think they're like around $300. If you really look at the big picture though, and all the money that I've spent on this, I've probably spent about $300 on all the stuff that's going in this bag. And so, you know, they're not bad. It's just that they're not as tailored to you and your family. So if you can make your own, because it will be more tailored to what you need.
Well, and probably more tailored to region. I would imagine that, you know, the generic Amazon ones are if you're in California or if you're in Florida, and they're not taking into account regionally the weather and what that might look like. And also if you're gluten or dairy free. I'm
Exactly.
nutritional.
Yes, exactly. I mean, really, you do have to go by the region too. Like up here, I think that FEMA says that we should put in a warm coat. Um, I haven't decided that I want to give up one of my warm coats to donate to the Go Bag yet. Um, it'll have to happen. I think that means I need to go buy a new coat.
I think that's your permission to shop.
That's what I think too. Yeah, but other than that, I mean, go off the list though. The list is a really good starting place. There is one section that talks about like making copies of all your important documents and stuff like that. One thing that, you know, we have a lot of our stuff is online. So the idea that I'm going to need a copy of my insurance policy, I can get all that online, you know. So I'm not as worried about that stuff, but we are starting to put together a checklist of, you know, some of the things that we need to make sure that we bring, like social security cards and stuff like that. Also, cats. My cat is still alive and he's going to be coming with us if there's an emergency. So you also need to make sure that you have room for a cat carrier and pet food, and cat litter and cat medications or dog or whatever it is that you have. You have to still round up the animals too.
I am not taking cat litter with me. If that cat can adapt to being outside and using the bathroom outside, we have problems.
If you're stuck in your car though, then you're going to want a place for that thing to go.
True. Very true.
Yeah, I've already kind of thought about that. I have like some old cardboard that I'm just going to throw in there with a little bit of cat litter and call it good. Like that's just going to be, you know, hopefully we're not stuck in our car for 3 days, right?
Right.
That's in a perfect world. But yeah, so if there's other ideas out there, I'd be kind of curious to see how people are storing like their documents and stuff like that in an emergency situation. Because so far, all of our stuff is online and can be easily found. The only thing that we have on a checklist is probably to go get our social security cards, which we keep in a fire safe box anyway. So it would just be a matter of making sure we get the fire safe box.
Yeah, I have a safe that I keep some stuff in, like my passport and everything like that, some cash. I don't think it's a bad idea to have some cash on hand in these situations either.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that keep anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 cash at home. I think that's a lot. That makes me nervous, but I think even having a few $100s is going to get you a long way in that situation, especially if you already have food and water and stuff like that. But, you know, just on the off chance that for some reason you don't have bank cards or I don't know, I think having cash is a really good idea. They also make these fireproof folders too, where you could take things out of a safe and put them into a fireproof folder to take with you as well.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, that's really smart. Yeah, we have like passports and social security cards and stuff like that in our little fire safe box too. And so we would probably take that with us too. But the cash part is, I think that's on the FEMA list. And I think they recommend at least a couple $100, which, you know, that's not going to scare anyone, I think, too much. If you can't have a couple $100 in, you know, a safe place in the house, then maybe we need to work on our saving skills.
Yeah, just put $5 in here and there when you have extra change. I know a lot of people that do that. If they get change back, even if it's $1, just put it away and start stacking away a little bit of cash.
Yep. Well, I think that's all that I can at least go over in the go bag for right now. As this grows, I'm going to be adding more stuff to it. I think I have to add some more food, and there's a few other items that need to go in there. But beyond that, though, we're pretty much prepared for the worst. And I have to say, it was a huge relief to actually get this done, at least the majority of it done. And knowing that, obviously, I have not filled the water container because I'm not that strong. So I need to fill the water container and things like that. But you know what? Once you do it, it actually is a huge relief to know that you're ready to go.
Yeah, you've definitely given me a few ideas as well. And I think that you should put up pictures when you're completely done on the website so people can see what you've added to it since the podcast and keep us in the loop.
Yeah, I definitely will. So I think that's all that we've got for today. Next episode, we're going to have a lot of fun and talking about how to jazz up some of your furniture or little projects around the house for super cheap and make it look super cute. So make sure you watch that next episode. But today, that's all we've got time for. So thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you next time. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
Thank you.